From WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
We have a traffic tie-up to tell you about. Sky 5 is live over US 70, where crews have been trying to clear that scene for hours, and there's no immediate end in sight.
And there's a good bit of rain across the deep south right now. I'll let you know how much of that will move across our area. And a symbol of terror. Today, the world marks 80 years since the liberation of Auschwitz, why dozens of survivors voluntarily returned.
It's 12 hours and counting for this right now. This is a live look. Sky 5 right now, where a crash shut down the intersection of US 70. That's right at Timber Drive. This happened early this morning. Good afternoon to you now. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Thanks for joining us. We sent you this WRAL push alert just before 5:30 this morning, alerting you to the situation. Crews say the area could be blocked until 4 o'clock.
Yeah, we have live team coverage for you of this traffic alert. Ken Smith is standing by with how you can get around that area, but we begin with Sean Gallagher with an update on the timeline for repairs. Sean.
Yeah, Jeff and Renee, you can see traffic is crawling by behind me. Just one lane that's being diverted onto Timber Drive here. But I want to give you a look of what crews are doing right now, just about 12 hours after this crash took place. You can see they're still working to get the utility poles reinstalled there after Garner police say that driver's vehicle malfunctioned, which caused them to run into a utility pole. But again, take a look from Sky 5 up above of these crews working to fix this mess. When you're up that high, you can kind of see that it looks like maybe two of these utility poles had to be reinstalled. But the work won't stop once they install those poles. They still have to string up those traffic lights that came crashing down on Timber Drive early this morning. All of it making for an awful morning commute. Traffic crawling through this busy thoroughfare of US 70. Just one lane of traffic getting by on US 70 westbound here, with no eastbound traffic coming through the intersection at all. It's just an absolute mess for everyone traveling through here, including the employees at this animal hospital here on the corner.
I usually take the back roads, and there was just a lot of traffic, which is weird because there's usually not any cars there until I passed Angie's, the restaurant, and then I sat there and I think the light turned green like 3 times, and I was just sitting there, just I was just wanting to come to work, and one of my coworkers, she did get stuck in traffic really bad, and then she got lost.
Yeah, even easy for folks who travel through here all the time to get lost. Now, NCDOT tells us that it should be reopened here around 4 o'clock this afternoon, so still quite some time. We want to bring in Ken Smith now in the traffic center. Ken, do you have any advice to try to help people get through this area?
You know, Sean, the real key is to try to avoid that area altogether, because it's a situation, like you said, it's going to be closed until about 4 o'clock this afternoon. Because really and truly, if you're heading east on Highway 70 this morning, you're going to be diverted onto Jessup Drive. If you're heading west, coming to Raleigh from Garner this morning, as we widen out the view, you're going to be able to turn right there on Timber Drive, which turns into Hammond Road on the north side of Highway 70 this morning. That will get you up to Tryon Road and on all points north and east. But listen, the best way to avoid, there's a couple of alternate routes for you. West Garner Road is one alternate route, but depending on where you are, if you come to that Highway 70 I-40 interchange, take I-40 and head on up to I-40 East, and that will get you to the capital city. But as Sean just mentioned, this could be going on until 4 o'clock this afternoon. We'll have another update at the bottom of the hour.
Ken, thanks. We are monitoring repairs, and we will keep you updated on the progress. Stay with us on air, online, and on WRAL News Plus.
We had a few showers lingering around our area this afternoon. Elizabeth Gardner is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center right now with a look at whether rain will affect the evening commute. Elizabeth.
Here's a look at the big picture. We have a warm front that's really right about the North Carolina, South Carolina line. There's been some rain along and just north of that line all day so far. A low pressure system is headed off to the northeast. Cold front's going to come dragging along with some rain ahead of it. But this whole thing looks like it's going to stay just far enough south that not a lot of us will end up seeing a lot more rain. Here's a look at future Hill Doppler 5000 radar. We've had the most rain so far this morning in our southern counties. We're still seeing a few isolated showers out here in Hope County, Cumberland County, Sampson County, but really not much happening in the Triangle. We'll zoom in again. Southern Pines, Fayetteville, Rayford, Dunn, Clinton, Goldsboro, kind of seeing just a little bit of light patchy rain. So far, we've not seen any measurable rain in the Triangle, but we've seen half an inch in Fayetteville and about a third of an inch in Clinton. That's really about it. This is a look at Futurecast as we head through the afternoon. You can see the rain down to the south, and it's possible between now and 3 o'clock we see a wave of it approaching Raleigh, but we're not likely to see much here in Wake County. We'll see Clinton, Goldsboro towards Rocky Mount, and then after that it's done. So this is a look at the evening commute. There's 5 o'clock, nothing happening. So that's good news for folks who are going to be traveling. Not so good news for the fact that we really need some rain. Our next chance will be Friday night into Saturday. I'll show you how far we are behind for the last 30 days. Coming up.
Elizabeth, thanks. Today we're watching the next phase of the legal challenge in the unresolved race for a seat on the North Carolina Supreme Court. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey tells us a federal appeals court will hear Republican candidate Jefferson Griffin's challenge of those ballots today.
What happens today could put us one step closer to finding out who could sit on the bench here at the state Supreme Court. We've been following the aftermath of this election for a couple of months now. Republican Jefferson Griffin is challenging the November election results. This after he lost the race by 734 votes against Democratic incumbent Justice Allison Riggs. That result has been confirmed through multiple recounts. However, Griffin claims the state should have never counted more than 60,000 ballots. He's requesting to throw them out. Most of those ballots are from people who voted by mail, did early voting, or voted while overseas. WRAL state government reporter Will Doran explains Griffin's argument.
There are concerns that the state can't verify the identity of these voters in question, and so therefore, since we can't necessarily say we know who they are, their ballots shouldn't be counted. Democrats and even some Republican critics have said that there's just not any truth to that.
Today is just the start of the trial in the federal appeals court. Doran says we likely won't get a ruling today, but in the meantime, this case is moving forward in the state court. So we'll be sure to stay on top of that and keep you updated. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Raleigh.
The race for a state Supreme Court justice is the final unresolved race in the country. We have a host of stories on our website to help you follow all the legal challenges. You can find them on WRAL.com in the NC Capitol section. WRAL Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie is monitoring the hearing in the federal appeals court today. Look for her live reports beginning at 5.
President Donald Trump is expected to sign 3 executive orders that would reshape the military. One order bans transgender service members from serving in the U.S. Armed Forces. Another guts the military's diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. And a third reinstates service members with back pay who were discharged for refusing to get a COVID-19 vaccination. The National Institutes of Health can resume purchasing supplies for internal research. Last week, the NIH put purchases on hold after the Trump administration placed a moratorium on the release of public communication. The pause kept scientists from buying supplies like test tubes and food for lab animals. The directive comes after President Trump said this weekend he would consider rejoining the World Health Organization.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, following some breaking news out of the Boston area. A rare but minor earthquake shook that area around 10:22 this morning. This is our sister station there up in Boston, asking if people there actually felt it. So this is exactly where it hit. The U.S. Geological Survey rated the shaking as a magnitude 3.8 quake. It was centered off the coast of New Hampshire and Maine, just north of Portsmouth, New Hampshire, if you're familiar with that. But they say shaking was felt across the region as far away as New Haven, Connecticut, and also Albany, New York. No reports of any damage, but this is very rare for an area like that. My in-laws are up in the Boston area, and I asked them if they felt it, and they said that they did. So again, very rare for them.
A new collaboration is all the buzz in our viewing area. WRAL's parent company, Capital Broadcasting, is teaming up with the Charlotte Hornets to carry 5 games. Tune in tonight at 7 to watch the Hornets take on the Lakers. You can find the game on MeTV channel 50.2 or Spectrum 1250.
Next at noon, Holocaust Remembrance Day, the restoration project happening as survivors mark 80 years since leaving Auschwitz.
Also, they're back. Drone sightings have returned, along with the mystery surrounding them.
Plus, a plan to ban menthol cigarettes has been withdrawn by the Trump administration. What it could have cost companies.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
Welcome back. Here's a live look at Fayetteville. As you can see, the damp roads with some showers that move through. And we have a chance for scattered showers throughout the afternoon and into the evening hours. So stay with WRAL.
Today's the 80th commemoration of the liberation of Auschwitz. Some remaining survivors of the Nazi concentration camp gathered at the site for International Holocaust Remembrance Day.
Telling their story. And it's a way that people never forget what happened. And in a few years, there'll be no survivors.
In a restricted area of the camp, NBC News was given a special look at inside this high-tech lab here. A team of conservationists and scientists are hard at work preserving and restoring thousands of items. About 50 survivors gathered there today to share their stories before their voices go silent.
Unverified reports of ICE raids on social media are causing unease in communities around the Triangle. Leaders and organizations are warning about the dangers of misinformation, while some groups are taking action. Siembra NC is leading training sessions to provide accurate information and to verify ICE sightings.
There are viral posts of people who see a car or see a local police car, who then they mistake to be a federal agent or a federal Homeland Security agent. And that doesn't keep anybody safe when this fear is this heightened. We're not going to hide in the shadows. And so this is what this training was about. It was about talking about how to show up for each other, how to be observers, how to be witnesses to whatever is going to come our way.
Siembra NC plans to hold a virtual session on Zoom next week to accommodate more people in need of assistance.
After a frenzy last month, the FAA issued temporary flight restrictions on drones in New York and New Jersey. That appeared to slow things down, but now it appears the mystery has returned to the sky. NBC's Sam Brock spoke with people in the Northeast who are demanding answers.
So that's the airplane, but look at that.
This morning, it's not deja vu, but a possible return of more drones.
The lights are coordinated.
From Connecticut to New Jersey, new videos emerging once again.
We have like a field in the back of our house and we can see them up there.
Mandy Malasich, like others in the Northeast, spotted drones in December.
It's not a plane.
Before the night sky seemingly went dark after the FAA temporarily banned drone flights in parts of the Garden State and New York amid thousands of reported sightings. Then, just over a week ago, the month-long restrictions were lifted.
Have you seen them since?
We have. My daughter saw one the other day.
We're a sightings alert network.
Enigma Labs, a research company studying unidentified phenomena, has tallied 650 sightings nationally described as drone-related since November, and they say most are concentrated in the Northeast. After seeing a drop in those numbers immediately following the ban, Enigma says just this month they've received 49 reports in New York, New Jersey, Delaware, Pennsylvania, and Virginia, 14 of which came after the flight bans expired.
If you look at the reports that people are submitting, they're saying, I'm still seeing them, ban or no ban, and they're happening.
We pressed New York Senator Chuck Schumer Sunday about the validity of those reports.
We have now seen new drone sightings, and we're going to have to look into these.
President Trump also vowing the same on his first day back in the White House.
I would like to find out what it is and tell the people.
The president says drones flew over his Bedminster, New Jersey golf club, too, where FAA restrictions remain in effect until the end of the month. In a statement to NBC News, the FAA did not confirm the new sightings, but said the agency is responsible for ensuring drones operate safely within the broader national airspace system. Even though the Biden White House dismissed any national security risk, residents say they haven't gotten much of an explanation.
Do you feel like you've had any sort of clarity?
No, and it's pretty frustrating and upsetting not to know,
The worst of the Southern California rainstorm is expected to hit today, putting communities at a different risk. It could bring flash flooding and mudslides to burn areas. Meteorologist Chris Michaels explains the new threats.
Rain after a wildfire, it mostly sounds like a good thing, right? But a lot of times when you have those fires, there's a layer of essentially water repellent soil, and then above that there's some topsoil that's just made of a lot of ash. So whenever the rain falls on top of that, gravity takes care of the rest and causes mudslides and landslides, much like we've seen in parts of Southern California. LA over the past 24 hours has seen more rain than they saw since the end of March, and rain forecast totals look to be 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches. And you can see why. The storm system counterclockwise spin is putting all that moisture from the Pacific over that very complex terrain and some of that burnt soil. Now, we care about that system because eventually it goes from coast to coast. Counterclockwise wind is going to help warm things up for us throughout the week. Also spells a higher rain chance for us Friday night into Saturday morning, although our flood threat for now looks to be very low.
My goodness, the LA area just can't quite catch a break. You know, you want rain, but then too much rain causes even more problems with those mudslides.
Yeah, that whole condition, the whole area. We've had our own bit of drought, and we needed some rain. We got a little bit of it across our area. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center right now.
Yeah, it looks like the southern counties are going to be the big winners. I'll show you how much rain has fallen. And it hasn't been a lot, but it's been almost zero around the Triangle area and northward. And we could definitely use the rain all across the viewing area. Right now, we're seeing a few showers around or just south of Southern Pines, down here into Hoke County, Cumberland County, a little bit of patchy rain here in Sampson and in Wayne counties. We'll likely see at least one more wave out of the system before it all moves on by. Here's the low pressure system. You can see plenty of rain down here in parts of South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama. This whole thing gradually slips across our area this afternoon, and again, could bring us a little bit of light rain. This is a look at Futurecast here. You can see the rain down to our south, and as we get into the afternoon, it lifts close to the triangle. It kind of moves on through pretty quickly. Goldsboro, Rocky Mount, Wilson, Edgecombe County, you're still likely to see maybe one more shower. It may not last long, maybe 30 minutes to an hour, and it's likely to be fairly light. Once we get into the evening, it's pretty much over, and we'll see some clearing overnight tonight. This is a look at Fayetteville. Again, this is one of the areas that's seen the most rain out of this system. It looks like it has tapered off just a little bit right now, but you can see that Hay Street is definitely looking wet. 51 degrees, so temperatures around the triangle are fairly close to normal right now. It's a little on the dry side with that dew point way down at 32. Our temperatures look like this. It's a little cooler in Southern Pines, Fayetteville, and Clinton. This is where the clouds have been really hanging around, and there's been a lot more rain. Where we've had a few breaks in the clouds, Durham, Raleigh, Rocky Mount, and up northward, our temperatures are in the low 50s. Around town this afternoon, looking at around 50 in Raleigh, 52 in Durham, and 49 in Fayetteville. And again, those temperatures are not too far from normal. It is likely to be a cold night tonight. Skies will clear, and that will allow any daytime heating to escape into the atmosphere rapidly, so we'll be close to freezing. 33 Durham, Raleigh, South Hill, Rocky Mount, 35 Goldsboro and Fayetteville, 31 up in Roxborough. It is likely that we'll have some fog developing with some of the rain that we saw over, today. We'll see some fog, especially from the Triangle area southward, most likely up north where it didn't rain up near the Virginia line. We won't see as much fog. Look at this beautiful view from last night. Heidi Rabstanek from Seven Lakes sent us this beautiful sunset. We love to see your photos. Go to WRAL.com/report it and send us what you have. We're going to see some big changes this week. Last week on Wednesday, remember we had all that snow on the ground. Temperatures were cold in the 30s. This Wednesday, totally different. A little taste of spring at 67 degrees. You can see the blue shaded area. That's where temperatures are below normal. We get into the yellows and the oranges, and temperatures are above normal. We'll start to see that toward the end of the week, into Saturday at least, but there's a little bit of a catch to it. It's going to be pretty nice for us for tomorrow afternoon. We'll see some sunshine and 58, and then Wednesday 67. Slightly cooler Thursday, and then we get a bump up in our temperatures on Friday and Saturday, but there's also some rain that is likely to go along with it. Of course, Sunday is Groundhog Day, and you know what happens if the groundhog sees its shadow, it's going to turn colder. We'll talk about what really might happen coming up.
Elizabeth, thanks. Huge traffic shifts coming to Raleigh. How the Blue Ridge Road project is expected to change the surrounding area. That story coming up at 4.
Then at 5, a new tool to fight crime. We take a ride with Rocky Mount Police to see how they're using the new platform to predict crime trends, identify hotspots as well, and show where patrols are most useful. Well, still ahead this noon, tune in for laughs. Get an added mini concert, a preview of 50 years of SNL music after the break. Also,
start placing your order when ready.
Driven by technology, a look at the changes coming to a drive-thru near you. look at Clinton. Well, Saturday Night Live celebrates 50 seasons next month. While the show has definitely impacted American comedy, it has also had its own unique effect on music.
And that is the focus of a documentary that's airing tonight on WRAL. Mark Barger gives us a preview of, ladies and gentlemen, 50 years of SNL music.
Even for an established artist like Kelsey Ballerini, getting the invite for SNL was big.
I was quite literally at the hair salon and in the bowl and got the call and just started crying, honestly. It's just one of those things that you have on your bucket list.
It also put Ballerini on a list.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are so lucky tonight.
Carly, XCX,
Prince,
LL Cool J,
Public Enemy,
Bob Dylan,
Willie Nelson, Bad Bunny.
A who's who of music on the SNL stage.
Initially, the beginning, I think I was just going to compile like maybe the 50 best performances on the show.
But Questlove took a broader approach for his documentary, Ladies and Gentlemen, 50 Years of SNL Music.
And I realized there was way more iconic comedic moments musically on the show, like surpassing just the legendary performances.
So along with David Bowie, the Rolling Stones, Prince, Taylor Swift, and hundreds more, some cast members also made a musical mark.
Pointing at you.
Music plays a major part on that show, and most of the iconic sketches that people remember, be it King Tut or, anything
Murphy.
Eddie Murphy's done.
James Brown's Celebrity Hot Tub.
The Lonely Island stuff, it's all music related. SNL is such a game changer.
1, 2, 3, 4.
For comedy and music.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Mark Barker, NBC News.
50 years of it. Questlove says he watched all 900 plus episodes of SNL over 2.5 years to prepare for doing this documentary. Ladies and gentlemen, 50 years of SNL music airs tonight at 8 on WRAL. And SNL's 50th anniversary special is Sunday, February 16th.
Must be TV there. Well, steer clear. An early morning crash is causing headaches 12 hours later. Sky 5 is flying over the scene on US 70 in Garner. Will help you avoid backups.
Also, there's a new player willing to buy TikTok. The conditions that could keep the app in the U.S. And here are your winning NC Education lottery numbers on your screen right now.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
It has been 12 hours since a crash on US 70 in Garner, and drivers are still navigating detours.
Yeah, this is a live look right now at that intersection. Timber Drive in Garner. The repairs are underway. Those traffic lights, trust us, they're not supposed to be at street level like that. That whole intersection has been closed now for hours since this morning.
WRAL's Ken Smith is standing by to help you get around that area. We begin with Sean Gallagher, who's live on the scene with an update on repairs. And Sean, this could go on for quite some time.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, even in the last half hour or so, we have seen a lot of progress. As you can see here behind me, they're stringing up another set of those traffic lights right there. But the NCDOT does tell us that the intersection should not be open until about 4 o'clock. I can check back in with them to see if that's going to be any sooner. But take a look up above. You can kind of tell that this was at least 2 poles that were involved in this crash when Garner police say that a vehicle lost control, that it malfunctioned, and the driver crashing into these poles. We're told that that driver will not be cited. and he does not, that he was taken to the hospital, but does not appear to be serious. But as you can see, the work not stopping once they install those poles. They are lifting those traffic lights back into place after they came crashing down on Timber Drive earlier this morning. All of this making for just an awful commute. Traffic crawling through this busy thoroughfare on US 70. There's just one lane of westbound traffic that's being diverted onto Timber Drive right here, with no eastbound traffic coming through this intersection at all. It's just an absolute mess for everyone traveling through here, including employees at the animal hospital here on the corner.
I usually take the back roads, and there's just a lot of traffic, which is weird because there's usually not any cars there until I passed Angie's, the restaurant, and then I sat there and I think the light turned green like 3 times, and I was just sitting there, I was just wanting to come to work, and one of my coworkers, she did get stuck in traffic really bad, and then she got lost.
You know, a lot of people come through here all the time, even for the people who frequent here, could easily get lost with this issue that's going on. But they are making progress here. However, NCDOT says it likely won't be open until 4 o'clock. So if you're going through this area, we have Ken Smith back in the traffic center. Ken, what's some advice to get some people through this intersection?
Yeah, it's been a really tough commute early this morning, because that situation is where you have Highway 70 that's usually 2 lanes in both directions. It's really just 1 lane when you come, particularly in those westbound lanes. I'll tell you, if you're coming east on Highway 70, you're just going to get off on Jessup Drive. But if you're heading west, you're going to be able to exit on Timber Drive, which becomes Hammond Road on the north side of Highway 70 today, and that'll get you up to Tryon Road and I-40 East. But really, to avoid this area altogether, a couple of options for you. West Garner Road right here is a great option to get up to the capital city this morning. But really and truly, if you come to the Highway 70, I-40 interchange down there in Garner, just hop on I-40 eastbound, and that'll get you to the capital city and wherever you want to go. But as Sean just mentioned, that situation is going to be ongoing from now until about 4 o'clock this afternoon, so it will affect your afternoon commute. So we'll have an update online, of course, on WRAL.com, the WRAL News app, WRAL News Plus as well, and of course, in our news starting at 4 right here on WRAL.
And as you saw Sean out there watching the repairs, we will keep you updated on the progress. Stay with us on air, online, and on WRAL News Plus.
New this noon, in about 90 minutes, in the last 90 minutes, we heard from Democratic leaders and voters who say their votes are being challenged following a Supreme Court ruling. A federal appeals court will hear Republican candidate Jefferson Griffin's challenge of those ballots today. And WRAL's Noah Klein joins us now with how many votes are at stake and what we might expect this afternoon. Noah.
Jeff, this is a key case. Of course, we're still talking decision 2024 here in 2025. This all centers on Republican Jefferson Griffin's request to have more than 60,000 votes thrown out. Griffin trails behind Democratic incumbent Justice Allison Riggs by around 700 votes. Multiple recounts have confirmed Riggs had more votes. However, Griffin claims the state should have never counted more than 60,000 ballots. Most of those are from people who voted by mail or just voted early. Griffin claims the state can't verify those voters' identity. Democrats and even some Republican critics say there's no truth to that.
Every day, it seems like Jefferson Griffin and the Republican Party come up with a new tactic to try to steal this election.
Let's talk big picture here. Democrats, they argue this appeal process should be decided at the federal level because voting rights are at stake. Meanwhile, Republicans say this should stay within state courts. It's worth noting the GOP has the majority on that state bench. Today's hearing will determine which court gets to decide that, whether it's state or federal. Expect live reports from WRAL Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie with what the justices asked and how attorneys argued. That's coming up on our evening newscasts.
Noah, thanks. Today, we will learn more about work being done to get lead out of 5 parks in Durham. So here's a map of where those parks are located. East Durham Park, East End Park, Lyon, Northgate, and Walton parks were all found to have lead in the soil. Today, Parks and Recreation will share an update on soil analysis and the next steps to get the parks open. The meeting is tonight at 6 at the Walltown Community Center.
North Carolina's worsening teacher shortage is getting especially bad for special education. Students with disabilities are increasingly being taught by people who aren't qualified to provide them with special services. WRAL's Education Insider found that the state is citing schools for that, saying they're not following the law. Parents and teachers told us they're frustrated and want better for their kids. You can learn more about what we found in the education section of WRAL.com.
A chance to save TikTok. The deal on the table from an AI search engine company.
And the secret to better sleep, why you may want to plug in that old school alarm clock. The WRAL News app is coverage you can count on right on your streaming device. It's upgraded with improved speed and navigation, so download the app today.
The Trump administration has withdrawn a plan to ban menthol cigarettes in the U.S. The Food and Drug Administration proposed a ban on the sale of menthol cigarettes and flavored cigars in April 2022. This followed arguments by advocacy groups that said the products were highly addictive and marketed to young people. If menthol cigarettes are banned, it would likely cost companies billions of dollars. Nearly 19 million Americans are expected to go on a cruise this year, but AAA forecasts demand will likely cool off following the post-pandemic boom. Passenger volume is projected to grow more than 4% this year. Cruise operators were among the worst hit in the travel industry during the pandemic, but their recovery was impressive. AAA expects the Caribbean to be the top destination for American travelers.
A new offer could keep TikTok from becoming extinct in America. Perplexity AI is an artificial intelligence-based search engine company. The company presented a $300 million proposal to the Chinese-based parent company of TikTok that would merge both companies, giving the U.S. 50% ownership. Under the plan, ByteDance would not have to completely exit TikTok, but would have to allow full U.S. board control. More high-tech changes are coming to fast food chains. Wendy's now has artificial intelligence in 19 states to take your drive-through orders. It's called Fresh AI. A customer drives up, talks into a speaker, and the AI takes the order, even listening and responding to questions. Inside, humans monitor the order and prepare the meal. If customers order something that is not on the menu, a human steps in to help.
Skip the snooze. One easy step you can take to get sound sleep.
Plus, it's a historic transfer. The world's best defender in U.S. women's soccer signs a record-breaking contract.
So what do you do if you're a victim of a crime and it's not being prosecuted? That's the reality for one Fayetteville woman who says she's being harassed by a former neighbor. This Ring camera video shows a person setting fire to trash on her porch with flames scorching a nearby window. Now, despite having video evidence, police have not made an arrest. And frustrated Hazel Burgo contacted WRAL's Keely Arthur for help. And Keely joins us now. Keely, let us know what happened once you got involved.
Hazel said that police began responding to her more often, which is what we want to see. The incident happened in November of last year. We got involved in December. Obviously, you can see there's really some clear evidence of arson. And in the video, you can see part of the man's face. We blurred that because he hasn't been arrested for a crime just yet.
And why is that?
So we're trying to figure that out. Police haven't been able to tell us too many details because they're still investigating this. They are currently issuing some search warrants, so they are actively investigating. We spoke to a defense attorney not affiliated with the case who told us they could be getting more evidence like the alleged perpetrator's cell phone location that night via those search warrants. Another reason for the length of time this is taking may be due to the fact that police are trying to issue proper charges, something like perhaps attempted homicide if the person was inside the home at the time of the fire, which she was.
And we have to remember a thorough investigation does take time. This is not a CSI episode, but what can police do or what can people do if they feel like police aren't acting quickly enough?
So really, police have their own decision making there. They can decide what crimes they investigate. And we don't really know if Fayetteville PD is actually being slow or if this, like you were saying, Renee, is just a lengthy investigation. People can also reach out to their district attorney. Those are really the people that hold the key to actually pressing the charges. We know that police can recommend charges. The DA is the entity that presses the charges. So we're going to stay on this. There's a lot to unpack here.
A lot of interesting takeaways from this should you ever find yourself in a similar situation. Keely, Arthur, thank you. We'll watch for your story at 6.
Thanks.
Jeff?
Thank you both. Yeah, with Elizabeth Gardner here in the WRAL Severe Weather Center, taking a look at this radar here. The one thing I noticed, it's warm outside now all of a sudden.
It is,
How about that?
Yeah, and that trend's likely to continue for a bit, and we'll talk about how long. First, let's take a look at this rain here. For the most part, with this system, since very early this morning, it's all been down here along the Virginia line, with the exception of just a couple of quick showers that moved up, say, as far north as Raleigh. And that's the way it's likely to be for the rest of the afternoon. Seeing some rain in Southern Pines, Fayetteville, Clinton, even up as far north as Goldsboro. Models want to pop that a little farther northward around 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but it's probably not going to be measurable. As a matter of fact, that little bit of rain that fell wasn't anything measurable there at RDU. But we've seen about half an inch of rain in Fayetteville and a third of an inch there in Clinton. And at this point, you know, we can use all that we are getting because we are looking at a drought situation. This is a look at the reason that we're really not seeing this move farther north. The jet stream, or the upper level system track, is just right down here along the Gulf Coast and in these southern counties, and it's not up towards our part of the viewing area, at least here in the Triangle. We are seeing some of those showers down to the south at 3 o'clock. A little bit of that bumps up here into parts of Johnston County, Wilson County, and Wayne counties, and then it just kind of moves out. So it'll be quick. Again, probably not enough to really measure in the rain gauges. And then for the most part, it's over. There could be just a few light showers in our southern counties through the evening, but that's going to be about it. About a 40% chance for the rest of the day. A 20% chance late on Friday, but it's Friday night and into Saturday that we'll likely have another good chance for some rain. It not likely to add up to a whole lot. Another half inch of rain possible in Fayetteville, maybe a quarter of an inch for the rest of the viewing area with that system Friday night into Saturday. We'll watch it in case that changes. Here's a look at our drought status. We are under moderate drought across the viewing area. Just to our east, the orange shaded area is severe drought. And boy, it's been a while since we've really seen a whole lot of rain. It was very cold and dry in January, and so that set us back a little bit. In the last 30 days, we've only seen about 40% of our normal rainfall in Fayetteville, about 45% in some of our northern counties. So definitely running behind, and we could use some rain, especially because this is typically one of the wetter parts of the year. This really gets us set up for the summer. We fill up those reservoirs, and that holds us over for a hot, dry summer. In Fayetteville, that rain's still coming down. It's been a really messy day in Fayetteville, uncomfortable temperatures in the 40s with some showers. Elsewhere, not as bad. Apex and Chapel Hill have seen a few holes in the clouds. The clouds are pretty thin here, and Raleigh as well. That's a look at our Jimmy V camera, and of course from top of the hill there in Chapel Hill. Of course, we are looking at a warm up, and how long will that last? Groundhog Day is on Sunday. If the groundhog sees its shadow, it's 6 more weeks of winter, maybe. If there's no shadow, it's early spring, maybe. Well, this is the forecast right now for Sunday. Of course, it could change, but right now it looks partly cloudy, so it looks like more winter if you trust the groundhog. But, you know, keep watching here. We'll let you know what's happening. Let's take a look at our Climate Prediction Center's trend. It looks like we're trending above normal, potentially for February, and that would mean maybe early spring. So we'll see how it all goes. 50 degrees for this afternoon, 67 Wednesday. It's going to feel nice. Saturday, also a comfortable feel to the day, but we'll be seeing some rain. We'll talk more about the timeline for Saturday as we get through the week.
Thanks, Elizabeth. If you want better sleep, leave your phone in another room. Some experts suggest using a traditional alarm clock instead of the one on your phone. They say that you could help you sleep better because of that. Leaving your phone in another room reduces the chance you might be distracted by it. Experts say a traditional alarm also makes it less tempting to hit that snooze repeatedly.
Oh, that alarm clock on the other side of the room, that's how I get up in the morning when it goes off at, dark 30.
That's the key.
Right.
You can't.
I don't rely just on this. No way.
The snooze is the devil.
Yeah, I need the traditional alarm clock.
Get up and shut it off.
That's right. 3 bracelets and a helmet stolen in a cloud of smoke.
The historical significance behind this daring robbery. Here's a live look right now in Fayetteville, and that's down Fayetteville Street right there. I can see as you watch WRAL News, available on YouTube TV and the WRAL app, your TV or streaming device.
As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today. A portion of US 70 in Garner at Timber Drive is still closed because of a crash that happened more than 12 hours ago. A car crashed into the utility poles and brought down the lines and traffic lights. Police say the car had a mechanical problem causing the crash. Now, the road is expected to be closed until about 4 o'clock this afternoon. We will monitor the progress of repairs and let you know.
A federal court in Virginia is hearing arguments today in a lawsuit related to the North Carolina State Supreme Court race between Jefferson Griffin and Allison Riggs. There have been several recounts that show Riggs won by 734 votes. Griffin filed the lawsuit after his appeal was rejected by the State Board of Elections last month. He is challenging voter eligibility of 60,000 votes. Today's hearing will determine if the appeal should be handled by state or federal court.
Today, we will learn more about work being done to get lead out of 5 parks in Durham. Here's a map of where those parks are located. East Durham Park, East End, Lyon, Northgate, and Walltown parks were all found to have lead in the soil. Today, Parks and Recreation will share an update on soil analysis and the next steps to get the parks open. The meeting is tonight at 6 at the Walltown Community Center.
Police in the Netherlands are searching for the crew that pulled off a daring heist at a museum over the weekend. Surveillance video shows the suspects opening an exterior door before a blast sends a spark and smoke into the air. The thieves made off with 3 gold bracelets dating back to around 50 BC and a 5th century helmet. The items were on loan from Romania as part of an exhibit that was wrapping up Sunday. No one was hurt in the blast.
American Madison Keys defeated world #1 women's tennis player to win her first ever major title. Keys upset 2-time reigning champion Aryna Sabalenka in 3 sets to claim the Australian Open title. Keys came close to a Grand Slam title before, reaching the 2017 U.S. Open final and 4 major semifinals, but always coming up short. Not this time. Sabalenka had hoped to become the first woman for 26 years to win 3 consecutive Australian Opens.
Olympic gold medalist Naomi Girma makes history, becoming the first women's $1 million soccer player. The 24-year-old defender joined the Chelsea Blues from San Diego Wave in a 4.5-year deal. San Jose native says watching other black women such as Simone Manuel, Simone Biles, and Serena Williams dominate their sports inspired her to do the same. Special education teacher shortage. Today on WRAL News at 4, how it's impacting students all across our state and why parents are now filing complaints against certain schools because of it.
We haven't really gotten any rain in Wake County, but the southern communities and eastern communities are seeing the bulk of it, and still raining in Fayetteville, and will continue through the afternoon.
Temperatures are nice, warming up, which has been good. Next chance of rain at the end of the week.
NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
And you get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Have a great day.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air channel 34 and Spectrum channel 1257.